What's good, y'all? We are Freedom of Thought. My name is R.Nader for Prez.
My name is Wavy J. Nice to meet y'all.
And we welcome y'all to our podcast, or our video vlog.
Video vlog, whatever you want to call it, man.
Our video cast.
Yeah,
but the way we met, I'm a musician.
I'm a producer.
And we've had a few projects together, and every time we got together, we always dove into these deep conversations. And it took one of us to just be like, hey, we should probably record this and share this with the world.
It's so easy, too.
Just set up the cameras and we good. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just putting together our resources and just diving into this new journey, But basically, we really just wanted to discuss a few topics each podcast and just share it with fellow young adults like ourselves. The reason we wanted to do this because we're still going through things as young adults, and we're figuring it out, and we also know that there are people out there that can relate to us.
Most definitely.
Whether it's school, whether it's life choices, whether it's like dealing with your parents or responsibilities, stress, like career choices, all this other stuff. So we really want to dive in and tackle into all of that. But for today, I think we're going to talk about mental toughness.
Mental toughness. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Why do you think mental toughness is like a really strong topic?
I really like the topic mental toughness just for the fact that honestly it's what you need to accomplish what you set out there to do. And a lot of times there's a group of people who will say they want to do something, but they like that we kind of talked about it earlier. They like that feeling of just talking about
verbal masturbation.
Y'all like that, huh? Verbal masturbation. Yeah. So, all right. So you came up with the term. Well, actually, I'll finish. But there's a lot of people that like the idea or the thought of just saying they want to do something, but they don't appreciate the journey. And honestly, that mental toughness is that journey.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about that because honestly, Ralph, he's been doing a lot out here. We'll get into that in a different podcast, but we both have a lot of goals that we want to accomplish. And so one of the main things that we need is mental toughness, because there's a lot going on in life. So it's a strong topic that I think will be able to relate with a lot of people.
No, that's real. That's real. And I feel as if mental toughness is not even just doing what you don't want to do. I mean, it may be a point where you may have a set schedule for the day, and then something happens out of the blue, and now you got to address that. But then you still have to get that energy to stay up later and still do what you want to do, and fulfill that goal. Whether it's fitness or it's dieting, or if it's like helping out others, being a serviceman to others. All those things play a huge factor. Myself as a creator, I'm a musician. I like to drum. I'm a YouTuber, all that stuff. And it's like, I could spend every day focusing on my own type of content. But with me having resources and like the network of people, I like to help others. So it's like, hey, if a person needs a cameraman or a video editor, I could do that. Or, all this other stuff. But at the same time, that takes away from my own personal goals.
Which could be stressful,
Most
right?
Definitely. But at the same time, if I stay up later and I still knock out my goal, that's that mental toughness. That you're still able to help out others, go off course, but still come back on course and still accomplish a goal.
Right.
So I think that's a big thing.
Jobs gotta get done, guys.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's the only thing. If you guys want to grow, you got to stay dedicated.
But one of the things I just said, the word was stressful. So stressful, that's I think one of the things that, or I should say stress in general, could be one of the things that I think can take you away from that mental toughness.
What are some things that can stress you?
Man, like pressure from other people. Like
pressure from other people, or the pressure that you put on yourself.
Yeah, that
other people.
That's a better word to say it, because I mean you were talking about being able to help other people out. That could be stressful, man. What else for dealing with stuff with music? Well, I guess that's still dealing with stress from other people, but dealing with stuff with music, trying to find that balance of, I don't have to make something that everybody's gonna like. But I remember there was a time in the past where that was my focus, and it really stressed me out, man, because it took the fun away from making music, because I was so worried about trying to impress other people with it. So yeah, I like the way you said it, the stress that you put on yourself. The moment I stepped away and started to refocus my focus on doing it for fun and doing it for myself, that went away. But, not everybody is, that's not easy to do for everybody.
Correct.
And it's something you definitely got to work on, I got to say, if you are like that.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I've worked on that as well. One thing that I've worked on as a stress reliever is to try to eliminate expectation. Like,
that's a good one. Say it again.
Eliminate expectations.
Eliminate expectations. Okay.
Right. The reason I say that, and I mention that, is because, a lot of times we do things, and consciously we like, we're just doing it for ourselves. But if it doesn't get the type of reaction, or some things aren't reciprocated back in that manner, we kind of feel a little like disappointed. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, most definitely.
So like that could even go from artwork, from your art form, your craft. You could put all your time and energy into something, and then you could put it out into the world. You'd be proud of it.
And then they walk all over it.
And then people walk over it. People don't even watch it, or like people talk down on it and just be like, dang, like I really put a lot of stuff into it. So I think removing expectations from that factor, it does help, because you're just putting it out and you're leaving it alone. You're letting it manifest. You're letting it grow. And as an artist, whether you're a musician, singer, producer, anything, I feel as if like we're very sensitive people to our craft. Which
is understandable.
Which is very understandable, Of course. It's like having a baby and nurturing it, but I feel as if like we have to disconnect ourselves in a way where it's like it's just fulfillment. It's more about fulfillment for us rather than, I'm doing this to get something back, get a reaction from other people. I think I've spoken a few times, like on my Facebook, about fulfillment and just, following that and sticking to that, because that eliminates all expectations. That keeps you happy, as a creator. And it keeps you in positive spirits, just genuinely doing what you love.
And that's the key word, genuinely doing what you love. Like going back to my story, like the moment I took a step back and was like, okay, I noticed I'm doing this for other people. I'm not necessarily doing it for me, but what that means is I'm not having fun.
Correct.
And so I like that point that you made up. You gotta have fun with what you're doing.
Gotta have fun. Always. Because, if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? No one wants to work a job if they're not happy, right?
Most definitely.
There's a lot of us that does that, but at the same time, of course, got to make ends meet for whatever you do. But just imagine the amount of time and hours that you put in working for someone else, and you actually put into your own dreams and your own goals. Like, just imagine, so I'm very fortunate that I'm a full-time musician that's married almost 2 years, have a pretty stable, income that we could sustain and live comfortably, which is awesome, just off of drumming. But I had to take that focus off of working for someone else and then figuring out my skills, my resources, everything that I had, even the people around me. It's like, okay, how can we create with this? And I just dug it out, fought through, for years, and just kept the growth going. And I think that's the mental toughness part, just understanding that you do have enough, and it's okay to start from here. It's okay, like we all have to start from somewhere. And of course, the more you do it, you may get some money from here and there, then you have to invest, so that's the next thing too. You have to invest in yourself. If you really want to pursue something, look up how to get the equipment, then compare, contrast prices and figure out like, okay, this quality is great for a great price, so I'm gonna start with this, and then whenever I do accumulate enough money, I'm gonna invest in something larger, something bigger. So it's more so about just taking the right steps through this, and like you said, just pushing through, and understanding that you do have enough with what you have, and you can make the best with what you have as well.
So, what do you think about work ethic? 'Cause I think that's a big one, man. That's gotta be a big.
Yes,
big.
I think that's a great subtopic. I just feel as if it's very subjective.
Yeah.
Because work ethic and what you do, or work ethic doing a job that you don't care about. Because there's a lot of people that be like, oh man, I gotta be at work at 8 o'clock, and they'll clock right in at 7.
And there is a big distinction between that work ethic that you have towards stuff that you want to do, and honestly, let's be honest, there's a lot of things that we have to do that we don't really want to do.
Correct. So work ethic, depending on for what, it is going to be subjective, but I feel as if you need it, and I think everything you do behind closed doors follows.
Very true.
Outside.
Very
so
true.
if you are like, hey, I'm gonna be on my fitness tip, I'm gonna eat right, all those stuff, I'm gonna make sure I exercise, and you're staying dedicated to that, when you go to work, you'll have that same energy, when you do approach it. I feel as if that's like the common thing. But a lot of people, they sleep in, they be like, oh, the alarm goes, like, I'm gonna wake up at 6, the alarm goes off at 6, hit it. Wake up at 6:15, hit it. Like, you're just shaving time of your day. That's valuable time. I just started waking up at 5:45, like the past few days. And
so, guys, we've been doing a 75-day challenge, which ironically was built to build mental toughness. So that's why he said he was waking up at 5:30 as well. I've been waking up a lot earlier too. I'm not gonna lie, it's been very hard for me. But honestly, even just doing it, like, I've noticed I'm just getting more done. Just waking up early. I've been waking up at 6, so you got me beat 30 minutes.
Oh, but it's all good, bro.
but just the amount of stuff that I'm getting done, and it's. You even said you said earlier, just if you're working out and you got that work ethic, you can take that and you'll start even seeing it in your workplace. I'm noticing that as well. Just the more that I'm accomplishing, I'm just like, hey, like, let's keep this going. Let's keep this going. But also
in every facet that you're going through in life.
Yeah. So that having a good work ethic, honestly, guys, is something too that will just help you with your ambition. It'll help you accomplish a lot more in a small amount of time. But just having that focus is very important.
It is important. There's been plenty of times I've been like, I'm gonna exercise, and then like I'll be like 2-3 weeks in, and I'll get comfortable, and I'm like, you know what, I could take a day off. I take one day off, one day turns to 2,
keep it going.
2 days going to 3, and then afterwards I'm just right back into the slump, And you could feel it. You could feel yourself get sluggish. You could feel like, like, do I gotta do this? Do I gotta do that? So I'm definitely in better spirits, physically and mentally, when I am on top of myself when it comes to those type of things. But you have to stay true to yourself, and the 75-day challenge has definitely helped. Because we got to go outdoors, and I hate the cold.
Yeah. So we mentioned 75 days, but we didn't even tell y'all what the 75-day challenge is. So it's 2 workouts. One has to be outdoor. For 45 minutes, a jug of water, any diet, any diet that you want.
Read 10 pages of a self-development or non-fictional book, and take notes of it, and then also have a daily journal.
And so when you think about that, for some people it could be really easy. Personally, for me, I tried this challenge 3 times before this last time that I'm doing it right now.
3.
And I failed every single time within the first week.
Wow.
And so what I realized is I had to really commit to just like, hey, I have an end goal. This is what I want to accomplish. And then I have my path. I have everything that I need to do. Just do it. But, for some people, it's not that easy to just flip the switch like that. But I think having a goal set in mind is something that will help you with your mental toughness.
Absolutely.
So like our 75-day challenge, we got our 75 days, we got what we want to do. That's our goal and our end.
And we both dropped like over 10 pounds within the first week. So it works, so it's awesome. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. So do you have any tips at all, maybe for our viewers, just how to build a better work ethic?
of course, accountability, hold yourself accountable. But if you can find someone that you work with, or someone that you know that could do something with you, and y'all could hold each other accountable, that also helps. So with social media, it makes it so much easier because all you gotta do is just tag someone, you know. So I
does this every morning, guys.
Yeah, every morning I tag I think like 10 people, you know. So it's a good nucleus of us now that are, you know, taking these steps towards, you know, a better living, better lifestyles, fitness, eating and stuff. And I could be in my bed, and I got people on the East Coast that already did their workout, but they would tag me in the video, and I'd be like, oh, now I got to get up and do it.
That's how I feel. I told y'all I wake up 30 minutes after him. So by the time I wake up, he already done tagged me in his post while he's running out on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I got to get up. I got to go do this.
Yeah, it helps to have that little push, you know, that little kick in the butt, like, you got this.
Definitely have to have supportive people around you that want to see you succeed and see you be better as well, and they can hold you accountable as well. You can hold them accountable.
Yeah, but also as Wavy J said, you know, you gotta have supportive people around you, but then you also have to be mindful of the people that are just like certain habits that don't coincide with what you're doing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So
yeah, no, I definitely understand.
Because we are like the people that we are around.
Mm-hmm. So you feed off your environment.
We feed off our environment. We feed off of the people that we're there, you know, close to and everything. So, you know, if you're trying to stay focused, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be on this diet, blah blah blah. It's gonna be extremely hard going out with a foodie that's like, yeah, I want to try this restaurant, I want to try that restaurant, blah blah blah. I want you to come with me, and you're just like, but I cut that out my diet, you know, like it makes it a little bit more difficult. So, I mean, just on that, you know, that's just an example. But
I think just being self-aware of what, you know, your environment is giving you.
Absolutely.
That's huge, because how we got this 75-day challenge is from another podcast. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but we could put it in the description later. But one of the things he said was, when you're doing this challenge, you know, you're following your diet, no cheat meals, no cheat snacks, not even, you know, grabbing something like a handful of chips or whatever it may be. But he said what that also means is, if you can't go to the, you know, the party and have, you know, they got pizza and cake, and you know you don't have the mental toughness to go there and not eat it, that means you ain't going to the party.
Exactly.
That's what that means.
Cut the party out.
It's that's also just being real with yourself and being self-aware of, like, hey, like sometimes, like, hey man, I got this friend that just wants me to go over here and do this, but I got this focus on what I'm trying to do. Mm-hmm. You have to be aware of that, guys. So yeah, it's huge, and it's not very easy to do that as well. So
correct. So you have to be mindful of the people that are in your circle, because if they're all on different accords, you know, you're gonna be pulled every direction. But if you have people that's like, all right, bro, like, I'm gonna hold you accountable, I got you. If you're doing this, I won't do this around you. You know, like, it's certain things. So as long as there's like a mutual understanding of where you're at and then where they're at, and they don't want to hinder you or knock you off the track, then that's okay. You know, but then you got some people that just really don't care, and they're like, hey, you should try this, you should try it. You know, like, that just tempts you. But no, we don't want those type of people. No. But yeah, so as far as your inner circle, it goes into influences. So, like, you know, mental toughness is what your brain is consuming daily as well. Like, I call it brain food, but, you know, like, that's something that's huge. What you watch, it also influences you.
Yeah.
You know,
what you're listening to.
Correct.
Music wise.
All that.
Podcasts.
Mm-hmm. I actually started listening to more podcasts.
Yeah, me too.
As well. and it feels great. You know, on the long drives, like, I have to drive to Sherman Oaks for like an hour for these rehearsals. But, you know, for that hour drive, I could get into a really dope podcast. And then once I get to my location, I'm like focused. Like, I feel pumped up. I feel like more in tune, like, mentally with certain things. So it's like, it's actually pretty good. So it's okay to step away from music every now and then. Music is amazing, believe me. My dad's a DJ. I'm a musician, you know. But at the same time, though, like, it could be polluted, you know, at times, and it could put you in a certain mindset and a funk, you know. So it's kind of good to have some type of clarity every now and then.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yep. Let's talk about. Well, I think we talked about the journey as far as like staying dedicated and committed to it. But what about for those that give up too soon? Like you said, you tried the challenge 3 times prior to this, and you quit within the first week.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason? What was the reason for you to quit, and what was like the most challenging part?
Well, for the challenge or for the 3 attempts before, I couldn't get past the drinking the jug, and then the dude even mentioned in the podcast that there's gonna be a lot of people who. For that outdoor workout, if it's raining or something, there are gonna be a lot of people that I'm like, I ain't going out there.
Yeah, they make that excuse.
I was definitely one of those people. That happened to me twice. 2 of those 3 times. The other time was just the not finishing the jug. But I think as far as that topic, I think you have to have a focus. I think it goes back to that, just having a focus and committing to that. And I mean, it's a lot easier said than done, but if you don't have an end goal in your mind and you're not committed to that, it's like what people say, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. You have to be committed to what you're trying to accomplish, no matter what. Yeah. And you got to be able to see that through. And I think that kind of ties into being consistent. Yeah. Being consistent with your thoughts, what you're putting into your head, as far as the motivation, being consistent with I already said thoughts. So being just consistent with if you are cutting some people out of your life that are hindering you or taking you other ways from where you're trying to go, being consistent with that. Yeah. So I think that kind of ties in with consistency. And so this is so far with me in this challenge, what I think I am 19 days in now. Honestly, it's just the consistency. I wake up, I have Ralph, he texts me, or he tags me every morning. That's what I'm talking about, having those positive people in your life every morning. And then I see that every morning. And I get up every morning motivated from that. We mentioned we started listening to podcasts more. I'm listening to more podcasts that's motivating me. I'm keeping that around me consistently. Correct. And then I'm always, the journal part of it helps me have a visual as far as
things that you've accomplished. Yeah. Goals, like visual goals, too.
Exactly. Be consistent with that stuff, guys.
Hey, set goals for every day.
Yes.
Like little sub goals. Like for me, it was to wake up, exercise, do this video. Also, after this, I'm going to shoot a quick drum video. I made up the lick probably like 11 o'clock last night. You know, so I'm still being productive, even though I'm, like I said, doing other things. So, yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Have set goals for each day for you to accomplish. The other day, I was like, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do laundry, I'm gonna do dishes, I'm gonna straighten up my studio room. Like I had everything done, and then I checked it off, and then it felt good to look at it like, wow, I got all of that done before 9 o'clock in the morning. Because I woke up at 5:45, I worked out real quick, did half my workout. Like I said, did the dishes, did my laundry, folded the clothes, spoke to my dad. Well, that was after 9, but I spoke to my dad for like almost an hour. Spoke to my mom, went out to rehearsal. I even shot a quick video, you know, like BIOS word of the week. You know, so it's like...
Man, you're doing a lot.
Yeah, all in the morning. But the thing is, like, I think me being on that level, like, kind of, not saying micromanaging, but just really being my own manager, like, that helps out. Yeah, we have to hold ourselves accountable a little bit more. But I felt like once I started doing my schedule, that made everything else a whole lot easier. You know, I know my wife gets home at a certain time, so I could accomplish, you know, certain goals within that time before she gets in, and then we can have quality time, we can just chill. Then that's when I could watch Netflix and pollute my mind, you know, all that other stuff. But yeah, you know, I just think that like being your own manager is important as far as like staying dedicated, not giving up too easily. You know, you have to be hard on yourself because we're the first ones to be like, I could do it tomorrow. Yeah. You know, I don't have to work as hard.
Done that plenty of times.
Correct. You know, so I think that's huge. You know, just be like, you know, if you really want to get the results that you want, you have to do this. You gotta suffer. You have to go through the pain. You gotta, you know, wake up early and do certain things. But once you actually get in motion, it feels a lot. It's not as hard as people think. You know.
So I got a question for you.
What's that?
And I hate to backtrack, but earlier we were talking about stresses and different kinds of stresses that you can experience that'll take you away from your mental toughness.
Right.
What do you think about, because you're a musician. I think, in my opinion, these arts type of career fields, it's almost against the grain in some senses, from just not necessarily taking that college route and going to college and then living that American dream necessarily. Like sometimes, being an artist, you just gotta put yourself out there. You don't even have to go to school for it. It's you're relying on yourself. So what do you think about that against the grain and how that can affect your mental toughness, chasing a career field that is against the grain? Because that's a pressure to me, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. There's constant pressure. There are ups and downs, of course. You have a few gigs. You have a lot more gigs in 1 month than you would at certain months, so you got to budget your money and all that stuff. But
and even comparing yourself to other people, too.
Oh, yeah.
I got a friend, Alfonso. He wants to write a book, right? And one of the conversations that we had was, he was just like, man, look at everybody our age, they got kids and they got, they got this, they got their house, or they're working towards it, they didn't graduate it, and, he wants to do this, and it just seems so against the grain. It seems so far away from what everybody else is doing.
Right.
And I understand that pressure, but
I mean, I think also standing out just creates your own lane. But, for me, like I did go to school I did go to college right after high school. I first went in as an electrical engineer, and then realized that math wasn't going to be like my happy subject. It was just too many math classes.
Get past that calculus, man.
It's too much, for me to process, and it takes a lot of studying. I was also in marching band and all that other stuff, so I was like, I always felt more fulfilled by performing. Just being involved in music. So, but also, I had an interest. That's why I also tell to people, I was like, hey, if you don't know what subject you're in, write a list of all your interests. And then the ones that kind of coincide with one another, you be like, okay, you like production, you like TV, you like film, you like radio, so get into communications. So that was my route. I was like, I've always been around like productions and like shows and stuff like that, and I always wanted to learn how things operated. So I was like, what?
Completely different, by the way, from computer science.
yeah, absolutely. But it's just like, I took that chance and I fell in love with it. I learned how to market, I learned how to advertise, I learned how to be a journalist, I learned how to do camera operating, I learned how to edit videos, all this other stuff. And I actually ended up working, like I didn't have a supportive partner at the time, but she was just like, you need to get a big boy job. So that stress and that pressure came from my relationship, more not even from my parents, but it came from like my previous relationship, and it was more so like, all right, well, I gotta stop drumming. So I stopped drumming for a bit. I just took the teacher role. I taught this high school. I worked at an ABC news station part-time, and then I also worked at Macy's part-time. So those are 3 different type of jobs going on the same day, which is crazy, but it was a good thing because I got a chance to network and meet a lot of great people in each field, and it kept me humble, because you have some people in the news station that's just like, nose up, snotty, and you're working, with people that are unpacking 18-wheelers, and folding clothes at Macy's, and then you're working with kids, teaching. So it really gave me a wider perspective on what I really wanted to do and focus on, because I was getting so many different experiences at once.
Right.
And I was like, well, I got my cameras, I got my MacBook, I could do like simple editing videos. So I started diving into my drum videos, like doing covers and music, but with the marching snare. And I did a few of those, and come to find out, one of them made it to the casting director at Disney, and he was like, hey, we want that at the park, because they were starting this new parade, which was the Soundsational Parade, and they wanted drummers that could dance, do tricks, and all the other stuff like that. And someone shared my video with them, and I got contacted, and it was like, hey, would you mind relocating from Virginia to California to start this show. I was like, yeah. So that was my leap of faith. You know, like I didn't feel like I left anything behind. I appreciated every experience for what it was, and I learned a lot. But at the same time, it was more so like, okay, this is me diving into something that I enjoy. Being a performer, drumming, all this other stuff. And it's at Disneyland. So I've never been to any Disney resort, you know, because I
can't go wrong at the happiest place
on
ever.
I was too broke to go to any type of Disney resort. So, you know, my first time going to Disneyland was me as an employee or as a cast member. So, you know, it's
gotta say cast member, guys. I work at Disney too. It's cast members.
Yes, gotta respect. But, you know, like, but it was really awesome. And that was just the beginning, because the downtime that I had at Disney, I was like, man, I'm out here. I got beautiful weather, like the beaches, locations and stuff. Why don't I just do more drum videos in my spare time? And that's what I did. And, you know, like that built up, then people like pad companies and stick companies and drum companies started contacting because they started seeing consistency.
Hey, we used that already.
Started seeing consistency, you know. So yeah, that's the number one thing, and that's what I do preach to everyone. You know, it's just like, if you really want to grow and develop in something, you have to stay consistent. Because if you're flaky with it, then no one's going to take you seriously. You know, and they're not going to invest in you or want to work with you in a way, you know, because you're flaky, you wish-wash.
And another word he said, guys, was that faith. Going back to your story where you said, I had to trust it. Coming out from Virginia all the way to California.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big word that you might want to write down and understand if you are one of those people that we mentioned against the grain. You're chasing that career that's against the grain, that, you know, you have to have faith and believe in what you're doing and trust it wholeheartedly.
Yeah. But you also have to have a vision.
Yeah.
So.
But it's really tough to look at other people and see something that you think the world is, you know, this is how it's got to be, and you're doing something different. It really is. That's a big pressure. So faith, like you mentioned, having that vision of what you're trying to do, that'll help with that.
Yep.
And consistency. There's a lot of big words that we're using, not necessarily big, but like just important words.
Bro, like that's real, because, you know, like I said, that video traveled, and my brother Harvey from North Carolina, he contacted me. He was like, hey, you know, if you're available, we're going on tour for 3 months in Germany, you know, all this other stuff. And I was like,
that must have been dope.
Oh, that was an amazing time. That was an amazing time. But at the same time, this pad company had contacted me, and they was like, hey, we got these new pads coming out. We'd love to send it to you to try it out. And I was like, well, send me 2, because I'm about to go out to Germany with my boy that does exactly what I do.
Right.
You know, he's even crazier with the tricks. So they was like, all right, bet. So they sent us the pads, and I went out to Germany. And from day 1 to like day 23, I think we did 23 days straight of just drum videos. And each video got better and better and better. Started adding more production value to it. You know, so that's another thing. You know, as I said, consistency. We stayed consistent, and we started analyzing our own work. Like, okay, I could do that better. Okay, I could do that better. Oh, you know, I could have played that better this time. You know, like there's different things that you can analyze. But when you go back into it, you have I would say a better mindset and better perspective on how to execute what you're trying to do. You know, so like I said, practice makes perfect.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, this is our first podcast, but it's going to get better.
It's going to get better. Trust me.
Yeah, but so that's been my thing as far as going against the grain and like reaping the benefits of having that faith and taking that charge of my own life. Like, I utilize, you know, the education I got from school. I also utilize the skills that I've received during my different fields and all that stuff. Even in school, I had to take voice and diction classes because I was doing radio newscasts. So that's why I don't have my New York accent. You know what I'm saying? I could switch back. Don't get me mad, but I'm just saying. But yeah, you know, I had to take voice and diction classes because I was set up to be.
You gonna pull out the Thames guys.
I was set up to be the guy in the suit and tie in front of the camera. Hi, this is R.Nader. You know, like, but that just wasn't me. You know, and I'm truly happy where I'm at. You know, and the people that I'm surrounded by. So you really just gotta have faith. You know, that's the number one thing. Trust your gut. Have a vision. And just really dig inside to what you truly want to do. Because, I mean, for example, you got people that work in a circus. and they just been into gymnastics as a child, and they never gave up on it. And now they're able to do crazy flexible stuff, crazy acrobatic stuff, and they get paid extremely well to do what they love to do. And the average people that go into offices and stuff like that pay for entertainment. There's always going to be a need for entertainment, regardless. So, find your niche, develop it, do your research.
Yes.
Figure out what you can utilize, figure out price-wise, product-wise, equipment-wise, whatever it is, you have to invest into yourself. That's number one thing. So you can't be stingy. You can't be cheap to an extent, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, if you're truly trying to take this seriously, then you have to make the right investments.
And believe in yourself enough to even want to do that.
Correct. Yeah.
That's huge.
If you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in yourself.
Your whole mindset on yourself has to be real as well. Mm-hmm. And that's something some people just have to sit down and make themselves conscious aware of how they feel about themselves. But if you are trying to accomplish something, and like you said, invest in yourself, you got to have the right mindset about yourself, man. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah. So, hope today's podcast, touched you some way where it stuck, and like I said, we're just young adults just like y'all, going through certain things, but we're here to talk about it. All right, so we're gonna catch y'all for the next one. Freedom of thought. We out.